Hello, come by and welcome back to another Marvel Snap video. In this video, we're going to be looking at some Ares decks, doing a quick review of Ares and the card this week. Then we're looking at 5 other decks that have performed well this week, that people have been getting Infinite Conquest done with, climbing high in the ladder, whatever, right? Same as always, 10 decks, 5's going to be Ares because there's 5 different decks I found with Ares, and then 5 other decks that aren't Ares decks. So, let's get into it, shall we? Actually, before that, let me talk about Ares. I don't rate the card really highly because I find it boring. And if you know anything about me, I like to have some fun. It's just a big card and I'm not a big fan of it. That being said, I still think it's a solid card. Like, if you were missing Misery and I don't even know what else was in there. If you were missing this week's Spotlight Caches, going for Ares isn't the worst thing. Right, we all just got a bunch of keys right for the comp, so using it for this week might not be the worst. Who knows? I haven't really seen what's coming up next week. I've been waiting for the development video next month, should I say? Waiting for the development video. It's late. So Ares is a solid card. 4/6 up to a 4/12, right? Gives you some information, right? You can see if they've got a lot of stats coming. You can see what, you can make a good assumption of your stats. There's ways of cheating it a little bit, like milling their cards, adding stones to their deck. If they've got no cards and you have at least a card, as long as it's not a negative card, right, you're going to win the Ares straight up, so it's not the end of the world. So yeah, it's a solid enough card. It's not for me because it's a little one-dimensional and boring. It's a brute thing. I like some sneaky, like NTW stuff, right? So yeah, decent enough card. If you're missing the other cards in this week, it's not a bad week to open up. Right, let's get into the decks then. Enough rambling on about that. So, first deck is this is a War Machine deck, right? So we've got War Machine in here, we've got Ares in here. We do have the Zabu, the Darkhawk stuff. I didn't realize that Darkhawk in here when I grabbed this list. There is another actual Darkhawk list. You could swap this out for the Doom stuff if you wanted to, right? You could just do, like, the idea is just a War Machine deck, but you could do like the Doom 2099 stuff and Doom in here if you wanted to, instead of like the Korg, Rock Slide, and Darkhawk. You could have Doom and stuff like that in there, right? Doom, you've got Legion already, Storm, whatever, right? Stuff like that. So you can go that way. It's pretty much just a War Machine deck with Ares in there because you got a big dude in Infinite in here. And then the rest of them are decent enough stats, right? 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 7, you know, decent stats. Next up, we have, this is the Mill deck, right? Destroy Mill. Yeah. You could have Misery in here if you open the weeks up and got Misery, right? Depends if you want Misery. No, this is just a straight up Mill. Right? This isn't even, like, you could swap the Misery out for, like, guess what, Fenris. And I don't know, maybe Red Guardian if you wanted to, for Horde and Misery if you wanted to go full destroy. It's a bit shocking that there isn't full destroy with a death in here, but it is what it is, right? There's plenty of different ways of playing the Mill right now. Mill's a deck that I love, but now it's getting popular again. Yeah, I don't like the popular decks. Next up, we got Hela. Hela, you want some big cards, so having Ares in here isn't the end of the world, right? You've still got Death in here and you've got Infinite. So there's some stats there. Hellcat, this is decent stats. Black Cat's big stats, right? Hela has got decent stats. Ebony Maw, stuff like that, right? All started up well, so you can win the Ares. Oh, God. Next up, Darkhawk. This is where I think I preferred Ares, was the Darkhawk stuff. Not this list. Like, I think because Man's a bit greedy. I never, like, when I was playing around with Darkhawk stuff and Ares, I never felt like Absorbing Man was ever the correct play. Okoye, I can see why it's in here to buff it, but it's not for me, right? Like, I'd have like NTW and maybe another 2-drop in here, maybe Jeff or Iron Patriot with NTW and stuff like that, right? It's just putting in my cards, like, they're super flexible. Cassandra lowers their power. You had Rocks there for Ares, and then Darkhawk can carry. My phone is going crazy. Bro, chill. Next up, Surtur. This is where the obvious one. This is like the obvious spot that most people put it right. This and Mill were the two front runners to where Ares went. And yeah, so Surtur stuff, big started dudes, a load of 410s, right? 3 410s in here and Scar. This is you can have versions with Aero, you can have versions with over 6 drops, over 10 power cards, right? You got Iron Patriot in here because kind of easy. You can protect your cards with armor and Cosmo. Juggernaut to help win the lane. Surtur gets big. Ares can get big. Your big stats. Pretty simple, right? And now we'll move on to the non-Ares decks. Okay, this is a Wiccan deck. Kind of teched out Wiccan, right? You've got Enchantress and Shang-Chi in here. She's kind of crazy. I don't know about the Enchantress myself. I'm trying to think of anything where I'd really need Enchantress. Not really. I'm not really seeing much Dark Core. Discard for Mobius. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Other than that, I don't really see much point of it. I'm just looking at my meta. Like, well, people's meta might be seeing a lot of negative stuff, a lot of ongoing, like the ongoing stuff from early in the season kind of dropped off in where I'm playing right now. I'm seeing Vicky Hand and Moon, whatever she was called, in a while. So pretty decent deck. Wiccan, I'm surprised Wiccan survived the nerf. Maybe not the Wiccan card itself, but I'm just surprised like the Wiccan stuff didn't get nerfed. I don't know what I would have nerfed. 1 power off Wiccan, maybe. Make him a 4/6 because his ability is kind of strong, maybe. Who knows? But I am surprised it avoided a nerf. Sorry. Next up, discard. Everyone loves facing discard, don't we? Yeah, woohoo! Like, I'm a fan of discard decks, but I just hate when I face like 70-80% of the same deck. Kind of bores me a little bit. I like to mix it up. But discard, strong deck right now. Pretty good. If you don't have an answer for it, it can be really painful to face discard. You've got the Bullseye's what's kind of carrying it right now, right? The extra discard. I said from day one, the discard is what's going to make Bullseye strong. A lot of people were like, ooh, the -2 could be nice. But it's always been the discard. The -2 is just an extra bonus, right? Like, if you didn't have the -2 power, it would still be strong. If it was an activate, discard all your cards below one cost and below, right? It'd still get played, right? You'd still be playing it in this deck. Like, so it's a discard that makes it strong. It'll buff up the Meek, buffs up Mobius, Collector, helps you discard your Dakin Blades. Okay, where we at? 8. Next up, Fina stuff. This deck's been really strong for a while. It kind of slept on a little bit because it's not all that interesting, right? You're just kind of playing a lot of cheap cards, getting big power. Ever since Age of Venom got nerfed, like, this deck like fell out the limelight, I guess, but it's still been pretty strong. You can get a lot of power. Fina can get pretty big. Havoc, you don't really mind about playing Havoc on like 4 or 5, probably 5, right? And then it makes it an 8 cost, 8 power. Well, you can't go wrong with that. You don't even mind on the last turn. Cassandra, Sage, decent stats. Red Guardian, Cosmo to protect yourself. US Agent for some extra power. Yeah, pretty decent deck. Next up, Iron Patriot. One of my favorite type of decks has always been Patriot. I showed off a version of this deck last month. Was it this month? I think it might have been last month. The end of last season, maybe something like that. With Doom in Patriot, I just loved it. No, it was this month with my god, I need to see what she's called. What's she called? What's the moon card that came out this month? Drive me insane. Moonstone, that's the one. I played her this season with Moonstone in here, buffing up the Patriot stuff and the Doom, with Doom in here, and then you've got all this stuff, right? It was pretty fun. I think it's a solid enough deck. And the last deck for this video is going to be this Toxic. This deck's been around a while, right? This Ajax Toxic stuff with Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom's coming in a bundle soon, I believe. This month, which is for gold. So if you've got any gold saved up, might be a nice time to pick it up. As for the deck, you know, it's kind of got this all this toxic stuff in here. You've got Anti-Venom and Luke Cage, so you can get a 0 cost card, which keeps its power. Obviously Ajax, they're all the negative stuff. You've got Man-Ting, US Agent, Hazmat to lower the power down, Rocket and Raccoon. Rocket and Groot, should I say. Red Guardian. Valentina, obviously Luke Cage is gonna take away the power, so you know it's all good. Anyways, enough rambling. Enjoy the video and